Thanks for looking at this short video. A group of us have been meeting on a regular basis since September, trying to make some sense of the integrated care models for working collaboratively with other providers across WELC. This includes Barts Health, the East London Foundation Trust for Mental Health Services, and the local council. We hope that this short video gives you some idea of the work that we've been doing and answers some questions about how we proceed.
One of the things we wanted to look at was what was happening across the whole of the country, not just in our little bubble here in Tower Hamlets. We reached for this document, which was a piece of work by the King's Fund and the Nuffield Trust about securing the future of general practice. And we managed to get hold of somebody who was working on this, Helen Parker, who came down and talked to us, GPs and practitioners here in Tower Hamlets, just to explain some of the things that's going on across the country.
Okay, so the Nuffield Trust and the King's Fund were commissioned by NHS Midlands and East SHA on behalf of all the SHAs and then subsequently NHS England to look at the future of general practice with a view to how do we secure the future of general practice. And in order to do that, we spoke to policymakers, academics, and in particular a lot of GPs, both as commissioners and providers, and particularly those that were providing new models of general practice. So the real issue was about how do we shape and scope the future of general practice and wider primary care services, and then what does that mean for the scale of general practice. And most GPs, with their provider hats on, were saying to us that looking to the future and what was likely to happen with contracting for general practice, but also contracting models that were going to stimulate and incentivise integrated models of care with other providers, that the small business model of general practice, working in isolation from general practice partners, was not going to be sustainable, and so they would need to look at some form of collaboration.
This isn't about core services. It is about maintaining the services that we currently provide through networks. 4 years ago, we were very green about the network process. We seek to build on that now in terms of developing networks between secondary care providers and ourselves in primary care. One way of looking at this is to think of our core business as our GMS or PMS, APMS contracts. Our network funding could be described as Core Plus, and maybe this new integrated care models would be Core Plus Plus.
This will be work that will be commissioned outside of the core contract, similar to how we have commissioned the NISs. And it will be an additional layer, really, again, to drive the integrated care work programme.
Having a borough-wide primary care provider group will allow us to have a concerted voice at the table with organisations within WELC, but also allow us to have a vehicle which would be able to bid for contracts that weren't available at the network level.
From our perspective as CCG, it's really vital that primary care are represented at the strategic provider meetings. And that's for a number of reasons. One is that we need primary care to be have an equal seat at the table for those discussions. But more importantly, the experience that general practice and primary care have in developing the networks and working together as peers in delivering care as groups of providers is really what we need to take forward as part of the whole integrated care model and vision.
I think I'm speaking on behalf of the CCG. I think we've got a real commitment, to see that we have a role around provider development. I think that's really, really critical. I think that our aspiration is how we can develop you as a provider organisation to help us deliver our challenge around the integrated care dilemma around a system, and I think that's the justifiable response that we can put forward about why we may want to allocate some resources to support you to develop that.
It is my personal opinion, if we are going to set up something, we have to set up as a solid body which could actually stand up and sit up with the other providers with equal status. So we are talking about a legal body, some form of legal body. In this way, we already had some talk with the London White LMC, who will be happy to provide us to get the right legal support. Even if we don't use it, it doesn't matter. we can put it, park it on the side, and we can actually reactivate it whenever we wanted to. But I think the immediate importance for this group is to represent us at will.
So my task was to actually look at the risks that would be incurred or mitigated by forming a group working across Tower Hamlets. One of the key risks that we thought probably was the financial risk was actually the practices budgets were at risk of being reduced as the CCG commissioning budgets reduced as predicted in 2014-15. By staying as we are, that obviously would stay with the current risk, but by moving into a collective working, there could be economies of scale, tendering for borough contracts and reduction of our footprint, but allowing therefore for further monies to be produced into the networks and practices.
I've been part of the communications group, and throughout the work of this group we've been sending out information to GPs. But it's important now that we come to an end of our task and finish group that GPs are fully involved, or at least fully informed about decisions that are being made from this group onwards now.
The work of the Task and Finish group is now over. I hope that this video that we've put together for you will provide you with some information about the work that we've been doing and lead you to be in a better position to make informed choice about the way forward.